When you see the word control, what comes to mind?
So control, we all want it and none of us have it. Much like if you're a leaf blowing in the wind is actually in control and can change course at any moment.
I'm Brenda Sue, and I've been a hairdresser for years, which means I hear a lot of stories. In this podcast, my clients explore a single word in each episode. Not the dictionary meaning, but what the word actually means to them. Real voices, real stories, one word at a time. Welcome to Clips and Conversation. Last week, we talked about trust. This week, we look at what happens when we don't. We try to manage outcomes, people, even our own emotions, hoping to protect ourselves from uncertainty or disappointment. But when control takes over, it can start to look like fear, mistrust, even disconnection. Our guest word today, control. When I think about control, I go back to my senior year. I had just moved to California and everything was unsettled. I remember thinking, I don't know what I can count on. So I found something I could control. My body, what I ate, how I moved, how disciplined I could be. And at the time, it didn't feel dangerous. It felt like control. But looking back, I don't think I was in control of anything. And even now, I can still feel that part of me creep in sometimes. The part that wants to manage things, keep life just right. Who comes in, what gets said, how it all goes. But underneath it, I think control feels like safety. When does control protect us? And when does it start to disconnect us? What is control to you?
We are in control of our own happiness choices. We control our own destiny.
Control, to me, that means being able to hold yourself to a higher standard and really believe in yourself and what you're capable of. Control comes along with integrity, really holding yourself to that standard. The biggest thing I've learned this year is definitely control and integrity. Like when I say I'm going to go run a marathon, I'm going to go run a marathon.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I have a Salt Lake Marathon this upcoming Saturday too. There's a big thing. We get a big dopamine rush of just saying what we're going to do and what I want to change, and control yourself and what you want in life.
You can only control yourself. And so control your attitude, control your emotions as much as you can. Control isn't negative to me. I feel like it is how I manage and I have let someone freak out, but how I react is my control. I'm not going to let that make me lose my temper, or how you respond to people and how you sweat. You have to respect others even if you don't like it. I know.
Being able to cope with life and issues and everyday problems that come your way and not go crazy over it. I think self-control is so important.
It can be the opposite of chaos, and it can give us a sense of peace and security, right? Mm-hmm. At the same time, if it's overextended in different circumstances, then it can have negative connotations and impacts.
I think of control, I think of just managing almost in an OCD sense, and keeping everything under control, and management perhaps is a more healthy thing as opposed to control.
Mm-hmm. This sounds straightforward, like control is something we do, but it doesn't seem that simple when you're in it, because most of the time, it doesn't show up as control. It shows up as trying to feel better.
I feel safer when I have control because I can at least determine what the hopeful outcome would be.
As an accountant, we use controls basically as a security measure to protect the business or the assets of the company. We have procedures in place to make sure we know where everything's at, we know how things are supposed to be done. Protects the business, it protects individuals. And so for me, in that context, the controls are good. They're kind of a guardrail or safety types of things for the business. And if you have them in place and they're operating as designed, then you can rely and have assurance, and decision makers can have confidence in the information that's being provided. So it creates trust.
Control for me is fear. It's
The reason I control what I eat and my workouts is fear of gaining weight. Control at work is me knowing everything that's happening, what the expectations are, and just trying to control every situation at work is fear of getting fired. Control with the kids is pretty much afraid that they will make a mistake that they can't recover from. So controlling the kids is so that they don't get to experience that and they just get to be happy.
So, how has control changed for you over the years? I know you've had to let go of some of this stuff.
Yes, learning to trust the process.
Even when I've been in relationships, it's always just been me that I've relied on to handle everything. So it's kind of hard to let go of that control.
It's great to be in control of a situation if that's what is necessary. But when someone has to have control over everything all the time, it destroys their life.
And the relationships.
And and always relationships. But because most people that have to have control don't realize that they're the one that has to control everything.
Control is selfishness because it's what you want. Mm-hmm. You're not concerned about anybody else. Control is also it's a resolution or it's an end to fear. As long as you're in control and you can keep away the fear. And
it's an illusion too, though.
It is, but it's just is how you use it.
This is where control gets complicated. Not in what control is, but how it actually plays out in our lives.
Seeing people that husbands over wives and controlling their life, controlling their money, controlling their friends, controlling their life until the person has no control over their own autonomy, their own life, their own personality. The person that is controlling the one person just wants to be in charge of everything. A power struggle. Okay. A power struggle.
I've learned a lot about control and how destructive it can be and how important agency is. I've also learned that my children are not an extension of me, good or bad. They are their own individual people, have their own agency to choose their lives and their path. Agency is one of the greatest gifts that we have, and to control that is one of the most destructive things that we can do.
Trying to control another person is like the quickest way to kill a relationship because it just doesn't work. And resentment will always be there when someone's trying to control. Control can definitely be a form of abuse, and then it's hard to stand up for yourself. It just depends on the situation.
And because it's worked for you, you don't even know it's a problem.
Yeah, sometimes we don't do what's best. We do what we're used to.
With control and addiction, you want to control how it works and how it goes, yet it actually controls you. And I think if you're coming from that world and you've done good, you almost feel like, when's it going to happen again? You almost are worried about it.
Ready for it
at any time. And for somebody that's an addict, you don't want to fail, but like it's inevitable.
So you almost sabotage that?
I think you do. But if you're really honest with yourself, you know it in your heart. You really know that you're given that relinquishing that control just a little. You're just waiting for it to fuck up. I don't know how to play.
And then you would rather it be you than somebody else controlling it.
Yeah, so I don't want somebody else. I'll do it myself. If I'm going to fuck up, it's going to be my terms, my way, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't even think you realize it when you're doing it. And then before you know it, it's happened.
My kids, actually, they were teenagers and they said, Mom, you're really controlling. Now, I'm not a controlling person. I'm very let things unfold how they're going to unfold. And I didn't realize I had developed this response, this reactivity to help me feel a little safe.
So you broke up recently with the controlling boyfriend.
Yep.
So you moved away and you said you felt a cloud lift.
Yes. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it until he was gone. And then I was like, oh. But it was cool to experience the triggers that he brought out.
So was he controlling?
I can see him being a very, very controlling.
But you allowed yourself to have your feelings be controlled by him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think we have control of anything?
No, we don't. We don't have control over anything.
Just influence.
It's a divine plan, and we just kind of roll with it. Even if you feel like you're in control of a situation, It's going to go one way or the other, whether you have control or not. I never want to be controlled, though.
We can't change what we won't look at.
I'm a control freak, and control for me is how I manage my life and keep everything in order to feel like I'm being successful.
Yeah.
Although I like to control others, and I've learned that others are happier. My children, my husband, coworkers, if I give them autonomy to make choices and not limit what they can do. But also over time, I'm learning that sometimes you have to give up the things you're used to controlling. You don't have control over all things, and sometimes others are going to have to do things for you that you normally would have done yourself.
It's a good lesson to accept that help too. And it's okay.
And it's okay. And it helps other people to take control if you give them the ability to take.
I like to be in control of like my environment, but not necessarily like people. And that's something that I learned quickly with 4 boys that I let them do, let them go.
Is your mom controlling?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, so say more about that.
Well, just jobs, chores.
I mean, as far as your control feels like me telling you what to do,
Yeah.
how to do it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure parents are, right? Well, and it's as far as my perspective, it's like my responsibility is to help you be an adult and independent. And so doing that for me is teaching. So maybe teaching for me is control of you.
With the job that I do, I think seeing death on a daily basis and realizing we have control because of our education, but in the long run, we can't control why we're there. We can't control the outcome. We can't, and it's okay.
When I think of control, I liken it to self-discipline, because trying to increase impulse control, trying to increase discipline, because it's hard to think that you're going to control the outside world if you can't control whatever that means yourself.
The inside world, yeah.
Right.
That's your thoughts.
Your thoughts, your appetites, your actions, of course, your thoughts precede your action. And then that precedes habits, and those habits go into character, and so on and so on. And that's just because I'm still trying to figure it out. It's almost the 6th. Oh.
It's the 6th. Whoa.
Whoa. Oh, whatever.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
You just can't worry about things you can't control. One of the worst things that you can do is to lose control and be angry and mad and upset, because when you do things and say things that you would never do if you were calm and collected. So I think one of the most important things to control is your anger and temper.
If you're trying to be in control of every situation in life, you need flexibility, and you need to be able to roll with the punches.
Definitely feel more safe when I can let go, because then things don't hurt me so bad. Like, I don't take it personally that something's changed or not gone my way.
Like surrender.
Oh, yeah.
And from that noticing, something starts to open.
So when you realize that you've been controlled your whole life by systems or religion or other people's expectations, and then you start realizing that you want to live from within instead of being told what to do, there's a learning curve of how to live without other people's expectations. I'm still making choices not to please other people. I feel like I had intention in my life, but I feel like this is like a new layer or level where intention takes a lot more thought, work, and I'm exhausted. Sometimes it's easy to just default back to what you normally do or what other people's do.
Right.
So, but when you're making like conscious decisions, it feels like a lot of work. And sometimes I don't even know what I want.
Start with what you don't.
Yeah.
Control for me has been part of who I am now because of being controlled and manipulated by others. But now I control myself and I do not let others control me.
I control my responses. I control my environment. I control things that are within my control, but I also control how I react to things that are out of my control.
It takes time and maturity.
It does.
So do you try to control or do you let go?
I think I feel more secure when I'm in control. I think life is more meaningful.
So how do you get in the present moment if you can tell your mind's going?
That's nearly impossible. I would say I don't consciously do this, but the idea of it is there is no past and there is no future. There's just now. Being aware of that offers control, because if we're aware of what's going on at that moment, we're plugged into things around us.
As I've gotten older, I have gained a lot of control over my life, decision making. To me, one of the primary things I've learned in my 51 years is that I should have the control over my own life. But I still felt like I spent 40 years not being in control of myself, who I really felt like I was. And so when I think of control, that's the first thing I think of is maybe taking that power in myself to be authentic and live life in all the ways.
How does it feel different?
It feels empowering. And to me, if I'm being controlled, I feel small. I feel just like somebody's or something, or maybe it's even me that when I don't feel in control, maybe that's part of that is coming from inside. But it feels very, very empowering. And
one of the most important things to learn in life is to learn to focus on what you can control and don't worry about the things you cannot control, because that is wasted energy and time and worry. Yeah, you can't control other people. You can only focus, you can only control yourself. And the best way you can influence people is who you are as a person instead of trying to control what they do.
Easier said than done.
It is. You've only got so much bandwidth in a day. Why waste it on things that you don't have any control over?
if you're trying to control every outcome, every reaction, you kind of live your life white knuckling a little bit through it. Like in my case, like limiting growth of my kids, if I try to apply too much control and allow them to or deal with some hard times to fire underneath you to be like, you know what, that's not what I want, and I need to change what I'm doing.
If I don't control the situation, I get truth because my kids feel like they can be more open with me because they know I'm not trying to control it. So then in a way, getting the truth, you do feel like you have more control, even though you're not trying to control it.
You have more information.
You have more information.
And then you can give your advice with that. And when you let go of what they do with it too, they don't have to do it just because you said it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Then
I don't say anything because they're adults, and they want to be in control of their life, and they should be. They're adults. But it's taking a long time for me to realize that.
When I started this episode, control felt like something I needed, something that kept me safe, kept things from falling apart. After listening to all these voices, I'm starting to see that control isn't always strength. Maybe it's protection. Trying to protect something from being lost, being hurt, from not being enough. A while ago, I told my therapist I felt different. I wasn't worrying as much. I wasn't trying to manage everything. I thought maybe I didn't care anymore. She said, maybe you're giving up control. We can't control outcomes. We can't control other people. If we're really honest, sometimes it's hard enough to control what comes out of our mouths. But we can notice. We can notice the urge to control and what's underneath it. And what seems to be underneath, more often than not, it's fear. And that's next week's guest word, fear. Thank you for spending time with me. Stay curious, stay open, and keep the conversation going.